A very good morning to you from a very sunny TT Grandstand. Clock of the course. Gary Thompson here early again, going for one of his little meetings that he has to go to. Joined on the show this morning, well, a little bit later on, we're going to have Dean Harrison on between 8:30 and 9, but we've got Ben Birchall and Tom Birchall. We're going to speak to the guys in a minute. But Christy Dates, last night's practice was good.
I was listening to the whole thing. It was so exciting. I mean, the conditions obviously were perfect, weren't they? And from the off, listening to all of you Chris's in the background saying, I wonder if we'll get 130. And straight away from a standing start, it was Dean, wasn't it, that got the 130. Unbelievable. But I suppose as well, with that sort of sunshine, you think, oh, great conditions. But they've got to be aware, haven't they?
Don't worry about that. They do a fire alarm test just as we come on air every morning.
That's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, well, these things have got to be done just in case it does happen. So
we're just talking about being wary of fires and things.
We will,
so there you go.
Yeah, Dean did 3 laps last night of over 130, 131.38. Dean Harrison, 131.27. That's a long time it's going on for. 130.23. So I think we need to get this sorted out. Yeah, so 3 good laps for Dino last night. We'll obviously ask him about that in a little while too. Michael Dunlop, though, snapping at his heels. Don't forget, you can find all the results at the official IOMTT.com website. They're all on there. Michael Dunlop with 131.09 and also 129.3, 129.12. Peter Hickman, though, going pretty well, 129. Dan Neen, 128.79. And David Johnson on the Golf BMW, 127.69. Then we're looking at the super stock times. Peter Hickman, 130.219. Connor Cummins, 129.5. And Dan Neen, 128.843.
Wow.
Good
That
times,
is quick,
fast.
And to be fair, it amazes me that they're able to do that when you think, we're sitting here now in this sun beating down on us. These guys going out as the sun's coming back down again and hitting them right in the eyes at certain points of the course. And then the thing last night as well, obviously the flies, and they've only got a couple of tear-offs, and how they could see through their helmets going around that course, I do not know. There was a great photo that was put up on the Mike's Radio.
Yeah, it's Conrad Harrison. Yeah, it's Conrad Harrison. Well, we'll speak to the boys then. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Thomas. Because it says Thomas on that. Well, no, it is the full title, you see. Good morning, chaps. I mean, last night was you guys were sat in the park firmly for quite a while doing some adjustments to look at in a little while. But yeah, it was tough last night. Is that probably the worst you've seen fly-wise?
Yeah, definitely worst I've ever seen flies. Yes, part of being here though, isn't it? We went out on the push bikes earlier in the week, and you could just tell that there were going to be lots of flies. They were everywhere along the side at rivers, and I suppose it's just the way the weather falls and whatnot. But quite dangerous, really, quite difficult to deal with.
You're out on your push bikes, just do a bit of mountain biking down the trails and stuff like that?
Yeah,
did you go a long way, 25, 30 miles, 40 miles, something like that?
Yeah, about 26 miles we did the other day, I think, yeah.
Okay, who'd you go, just you two on your own, or
there was
group?
Us, yeah, a few at lads, us and Lewis Blackstock and Paddy Rosney. Showed them how to go on. We had to wait for them a bit, didn't we?
Did you?
They got tired, bless them.
Is it a bit competitive, is it, then, when you boys go out the push?
Of course it is. Anything you do when you're a race is competitive, isn't it?
Yeah, we went up that Arch Alligan. There's all sorts of trails in there.
It's lovely.
It's beautiful up there. You see a lot of races seem to be out on mountain bikes. It seems to be the thing to do, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just keeps you ticking over, doesn't it? Get your head out of the paddock for a bit and away from them thoughts, and go and dodge some trees and be a bit dangerous on your bike.
And it keeps you fit and healthy as well, doesn't it? Because you've got to be so fit and healthy to get around that course and doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's one. I always think your fitness is one thing that you don't have to pay for, or it don't matter how much money you have or haven't got to go racing. Everybody struggles. Everybody has their own budget to meet, but your fitness don't cost a penny. So you could never say, I ain't got enough money to be fit.
You've got to go and do it, though, haven't you? That's the thing, get up and go to want to go and do it. Just going to quickly look at the World Sidecar Champions, the FIM Super Side Championship, whatever you want to call it. The last race, I believe, was a bit of a belter between you and Mr. Reeves.
Yeah, the one before it was as well, actually. It's been quite tight. I just haven't managed to get one up on him yet, but I'm going to change that, I'm sure.
I'm just looking at the title, the actual points here now. Tim Reeves has got 70 with Mark Wiltz, of course. Pekka in second place with Jussi my glasses are getting worse. Viravainen, that's close enough, 54. And then you've got 43. Alan Founds is in fifth at the moment today. Obviously, he's here too. What about people like Pekka? I mean, I talked to John Newton yesterday about these guys wanting to come to the TT. I mean, some of these guys, have they ever asked you about it? I mean, tell us about that.
Yeah, it really intrigues them. And I'm sure that if it just boils down to budget as much as anything. If we could put a bike together for him, I'm sure that he'd come and have a go. But probably just can't afford to do both things. We're lucky that we can. And of course, us being British, it's a lot bigger part of our racing calendar than what it probably is for them from Finland. But he's no stranger to danger, Pecker. He'd enjoy it.
He'd have a go, wouldn't he? Definitely. Obviously, world champions again, beating him last year. I didn't realise. I was just looking to think that Johnny Holdham's third in the championship last year.
Yeah,
John, an old boy, isn't he?
John's going good. Yeah. He's got his head round riding that bike, and he's up to pace. I mean, in the last round in Slovakia, there was 4 or 5 of us that were all on a similar pace, and you made a mistake and you got past. It's back to real good racing.
But really close. I mean, obviously the difference is you're going to use the long bike. Are they 600 long bikes? They are, because you were talking about that a couple of years ago. The development was moved on with them. So how different is that to, obviously, let's call it a Formula 2 bike, if you want to call it that, than your long bike?
It's basically 3 seconds a lap. So the long chassis will give you about 3 seconds a lap.
How what's the difference in that? How do you get that 3 seconds?
It's just purely from cornering. They corner a lot better than the short chassis. But that's what they're built to do. They're built to be a Grand Prix machine. They've got
lighter.
Similar weight, to be fair, a little bit lighter, but they've just got a lot bigger contact patch, and there's a lot more rubber on the road when it steers and when it corners.
And as a passenger, how is it a different sort of style that you have to use for the small bike to the long bike?
It is actually, yeah. Similar for a driver. You can't. If you jump off the long bike, let's say if you've had a weekend on the long bike, you jump on the short bike. You can send it into a right hand and it just will not do what you're expecting of it. So you've got to change the style and change your braking points and your turning points and that kind of thing. They are a different animal completely, other than having 3 wheels and an engine and 2 blokes. That's sort of where the comparison ends. Just to look at them, they're 2 very different things.
Looking at your laps last night, quickly, Christy. You've got social media, by the way.
You're talking about the Formula 2 there. Just a quick message. You can, of course, text in. You can text to 166 177. But if you start your message TT, you can also email studio@radiot.com, tt.com. And, of course, if you use @ManxRadioTT for all social media. We had a message in from Adam saying, do you think there'll ever be a Formula 1 sidecar?
Ooh.
I don't really know what he means by that. I suppose.
You mean a Formula 1 race around here? So a long bike race. I mean, they used to use long bikes years ago, like Derek Rumble and people like that.
Not around here, no. It was discussed a bit back, maybe 2 years ago, but the geometry and the style of the bike wouldn't really be suitable for what goes on around here. Not only in the way that it handles and what it needs to do to be stable against the bumps and the crowns and the road and stuff like that, but it's also the mechanics of them. Because they're more racing car orientated, they use a lot of rose joints and uniball joints, and they're a bit more fragile. They're more like an F1 car with a wheel missing than say the bikes that we ride. They're a lot more robust and a lot stronger. So I would say no.
Oh, well, fair comment. Any more, Christy? Anything else coming in?
For the minute, that is it. So do text us in 166 177. You got any questions for the Birchall brothers this morning?
Okay, guys. Okay, so the plan for, obviously, next practice, obviously you had a few problems last night. Just run us through what you had last night. You did the first lap, and then you came in, you were doing a lot of chain issues. Just explain to the listeners out there what that was. Yeah,
it was just about trying a bit of gearing and a bit of different things. What we'd made some notes from last year, and we decided to go back to what we knew. So we pulled in and swapped the chain and lengthened the wheelbase a bit, and just a big issue with flies. I used 3 tear-offs on first lap. Normally I'd use 3 in a race, so we swapped my visor, and then I lost both tear-offs. So we had to stop at Balaf, and some kind marshal gave us some water and some tissue, and it was that bad. I was just, I'm not. Normally you'd think, I'll be all right, I'll carry on, but with the sun and the flies, it was just not worth.
Yeah, definitely
not worth carrying on for that. So Tom washed my visor, and we moved on. But happy with what we tried and what we got to. So it's looking like a good week, and I think that's why we made a decision to sort of gamble a bit on a few bits and bobs. It's looking like we'll have more than we had last year. Practice time, but fantastic to be back out there again. My eyes have just sort of starting to come a bit normal again instead of being like saucers. So.
Got to ask you about that. I mean, the solo guys obviously get to go to the Northwest 200 to get themselves up the pace to go in. I know you guys have been doing short circuits, but nothing compares. You can't just go to a normal track, let's say, for example, like Croft or something like that, and do some laps, so you can't go to Cadwell. This place is a completely different animal, especially for the passenger-wise. How much of a difference is it to get your head tuned in to not having Armco one side, to having hedges and lampposts and phone boxes and stuff?
We've been coming here 9 years now, and
Is it really 9 years? Blimey.
Yeah, it still slaps you in the face, when you set off out of that little road onto Glencrutchery Road there. Yeah, there's just nothing else like it. But like you were just saying, the solo lads, they get to go to Northwest and do that kind of thing, so it just tunes them in a little bit, and some Irish lads and English lads do some stuff in Ireland before they come here, so I think they do just sort of gear up a little bit sooner than us, I suppose. But a couple of nights in and you're back to form. You know what you sort of expect, and you look back over your notes of it last year and have a quiet word with you saying, you're going to need to expect that bump and that, that part of the road's going to be nasty. It's just how it is over here. So yeah, it takes some tuning in, but a bit of experience helps, and just keep your feet on the ground and think, yeah, that's coming, so be prepared.
How much does the course change then from year on year? Do you notice huge differences in the bumps and everything?
Yeah, it's quite surprising. I think the bumps that are there get worse in places. I thought Sulby Straight were really bad last night compared to last year.
Really?
At the bottom of Bagara, that's been, if you go on the right side of the road, it's real bad, that is.
On the way down?
After the bottom.
Really?
Through the dip, and then, so it's... But it's going to do, innit? Trees grow a bit more, and weather
trucks.
does stuff.
I mean, there's a lot of trucks going up there. Obviously heading up north. I mean, there's road stuff all the time, isn't it? And the Southern 100 as well. I mean, they've done, if you know, and that Southern 100, they've resurfaced all the way through Great Meadow from the entrance to the exit there, and that was always a bit scratchy to there, wasn't it?
That was bumpy, yeah.
I don't think it's going to be now.
They've took some trees out and some buildings and gone and stuff on TT course. I mean, Gary Thompson gives a good briefing on it and gives us all heads up, but it's still like, oh, where's that gone? Because some things you just do look for,
Gorsley on the left-hand side,
that's
the little white building's
little
gone, isn't
white
it?
Building,
yeah, that's gone. Anything else that Gary was telling you about? There was kind of new on the course in the great briefings that he gives.
He was bang on with everything, as he is. That's Gary. He's great at it. It's a bit of resurfacing, and he mentioned about the bumps at the bottom of Bagara, and I found them other year when I went a bit wide. I thought, I'm doing that again.
yeah. Don't do that.
No. It'd been nice for us to get out on Saturday night, really. I know maybe it's something that they could think about in future, because to do that Saturday night, even if it's just a flagged lap, just gives you, just dials you in a bit and gets you ready there. Because I think sort of after Monday night, if we have that Saturday, you sort of 1 foot forward, and you can have a think about it Sunday and go where you want to do. But we're happy to be here and accept what we get, but it'd be nice if maybe next year we could do that. It'd be good for sidecars, I think.
Well, I know Gary likes to listen to what you guys say, and I'm sure you'll probably go there and he's probably, do you know what, we could do it. And then if we're blessed with the weather like this, I mean, that's a definite. I mean, think back to last year.
Yeah, it was terrible last year, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, we could have just had a running race round, and that probably would have been better at some point. We wouldn't want to go out in the rain. If you have any questions for the guys, you'd like to chuck anything towards them, Christy, how did they get in touch this morning?
Obviously we are live from the Shore Studio at the Grandstand, so you can always come down and wave at us if you like. We're also on Facebook Live, I believe, so you can post some comments under the video there. You can email us, studio@radiott.com, or you can text 166177. But if you are texting, do please start your message with TT. And I'm assuming if you're using a UK mobile, you'll want to put...
you'll need the code 07624 in it as well.
07624. So 07624 166 177 for text. And you can go over to our Twitter feed, which is @ManxRadioTT, or Facebook as well. But should we take an ad and give people a few minutes to send some messages in for the Birchall brothers? They're with us for another few minutes, and then after 8:30 we're going to be joined by Dean Harrison as well. But for now, we'll take a quick break.